I think there's so many fucking powerful people that are on those lists. Like their thing is to do something that is horrible, and it's not available to other people. So it's like, I think there's like a sickness that people have when they have power, like extreme power. What is the next crazy thing that's going to explode in the news? Is Bill Clinton's going to have an OnlyFans? Like, what is going to happen?
What happened behind the closed doors at Diddy's infamous party? As the second week of the trial unfolds, shocking testimonies are surfacing. Joe Rogan has dropped a bombshell insight on his podcast, calling out the inconsistencies no one else is brave enough to mention. But what was said in court that caused the public to gasp? And why is this creating so much chaos for the defense?
What is the next crazy thing that's going to explode in the news? Is Bill Clinton's going to have an OnlyFans? Like, what is going to happen? What is the next thing that's going to make us all go, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's coming.
How many guys were on video saying, ain't no party like a Diddy party? How many people like openly talked about being there?
LeBron?
Yeah, how Ashton Kutcher, all these people. Like, you guys all went. You didn't see nothing? Donnell went? Yeah. Did he? Of course he did.
Donnell
trying to defend himself.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is he trying to defend himself right now?
It's pretty funny.
I got to call him up. Donnell, you got to back away from that.
Isn't there a video with Kamala?
She was at one of the Diddy parties?
Isn't she in the background with...
It might have been the difference between Diddy parties and freak-offs. Oh, my God.
They're giving him shit, too, because he's sitting in his
the guy from Chappelle Show?
Yeah.
And then Dave's there, too, and then Russell Simmons, too. Oh, boy. But is that at a party, or is that just a group of them together?
They were, like, on a yacht or something like that.
Okay, but that's not the Diddy party.
No, yeah, it's not like they were at kind of...
You think Diddy was rogue, or Diddy was like a Epstein type? Working for somebody.
That's a good question. Well, it would be a great way to compromise celebrities. Yeah. And get them to say whatever you want them to do, get them to do whatever projects you'd like them to do. And, if you're a bunch of other celebrities are there, you're like, oh, look, Bill Clinton's here. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is cool. Look at this. Like, Brad Pitt's here. Oh, this is cool. You don't even think there's anything wrong with being there. Meanwhile, you're getting drugged up and filmed. And then they're passing out punch. Have some punch, Aaron. And you have some punch, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling really good. I just feel amazing. You're all mollied up. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Probably a combination of things they give you.
And it's all being filmed.
Crazy. Now, if that's not an intelligence agency operation, it's just one fucking evil super genius who figures out how to compromise everybody by providing this crazy freak off party. Everybody's got to put their phones away. Okay, we're going to put our phone away. No one's going to know anything. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get cameras everywhere. It's just one guy doing that. What a diabolical human being.
Yeah.
He seems pretty diabolical.
He's probably working with somebody.
The courtroom was electric. Every seat filled with reporters, legal analysts, and curious spectators eager to hear what would unfold next. Diddy, seated next to his defense team, hardly looked up as the second week of the trial began. The case had already captivated public attention, but as new testimonies emerged, the details grew darker and more disturbing, reshaping the narrative around what happened at his now infamous party. The glamorous image of music royalty was being dismantled bit by bit, replaced with allegations that hinted at something far more sinister. One of the most explosive testimonies came from a former party guest who described the night in vivid, haunting detail. Under oath, they recounted an atmosphere of unchecked excess, alcohol flowing freely, security turning a blind eye, and, in their words, rules that didn't seem to apply. The witness claimed that certain private areas of the event were heavily restricted, guarded by what they described as intimidating enforcers who ensured entry was allowed only for a select circle. What shocked the courtroom, however, wasn't just the exclusivity. It was their account of what allegedly happened behind those closed doors. Another key testimony came from a former member of Diddy's inner circle, someone who had, until recently, worked closely with him. This witness provided shocking insight into the weeks leading up to the event. They described preparations that allegedly prioritized discretion above all else. Their statement included a claim that security procedures were explicitly designed to keep outsiders completely in the dark, and they strongly implied that some guests were handpicked for reasons far beyond simple celebrity connections. Wow. The defense objected to parts of this testimony, arguing relevance. The damage was already done. For the jurors watching, this painted a picture of deception and control that cast an entirely new light on the evening in question. Legal analysts have been quick to weigh in with their takes on how these testimonies might influence the outcome of the trial. One analyst noted that such detailed accounts put the defense in a tricky position, forcing them to address allegations they were likely hoping to keep out of the courtroom. The media, of course, has been equally relentless. Headlines from several outlets have already referred to these revelations as the turning point of the case, and social media is flooded with debates over what this might mean for Diddy's image and future. Perhaps the most striking moment of the week came at the end of one particularly graphic testimonial. The courtroom sat in stunned silence as the prosecutor drove home their point. When the witness stepped down, a murmur rippled through the gallery, and several jurors exchanged uneasy glances. Even the judge appeared to stiffen slightly, his expression momentarily betraying his usual impartiality. It was clear that the tone of the trial had shifted, and the defense team seemed visibly on edge as they scrambled to adjust their strategy. But what made these testimonies so powerful wasn't just their content. It was their sheer consistency in contradicting the defense's claims. If this is how the second week unfolded, one has to wonder, what lies ahead? As Joe Rogan pointed out during his recent podcast episode, this trial seems to reveal more with each passing day, and his take on these testimonies might offer a perspective few others are examining.
You know, that's like
that's a really great way to say it, because if you denounce, okay, so you say there's no devil,
right?
So then you're somewhat saying that there's no evil, but you're not branding evil with some type of identifying factor. Then you kind of glaze over it a little bit. I think if that's what I'm hearing you're saying, and I agree with it, because it gets a little too. I think people want tangibility. I think people like to be able to understand things and see it for real and so forth. But when you start just talking about root evil, when you start looking at things, like I went to the Oklahoma bombing memorial, and when you look at shit like that, you think about the hate on this country and in the 9/11, and you think, or you just take it down to the Boy Scout troop leader, or you take it to you take it whatever. Yeah. There is a common denominator there, and that is just what you called it, evil. So call it devil, don't call it devil, but call it evil. The evilness is just in not being aware of it or not allowing ourselves to believe it, I think, is part of the.
Well, it's the old quote: the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is making people believe he doesn't exist. You know, I've had conversations with people about it, and it's like, Jesus, like just trying to get the documents, like when they're trying to get the Epstein files, like the state of New York, one of the district attorneys was hiding documents that have forced them to give documents. I think there's so many fucking powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went and partied. Air quotes, partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild.
Why don't they air it the same way they aired the coverage that Johnny Depp got?
I know. Why don't they? I don't know. They should. The ratings would be amazing.
Unreal.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you air that?
What's going to happen though, you think?
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get.
Think he's going to sing though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters. I mean, it's a lot of it is.
But then it's just another Epstein. It's another Ghislaine Maxwell, where somebody gets indicted and nobody else indicted for trafficking kids to
to no one.
And if this is just the second week, imagine what truths are still lurking in the shadows, waiting to be dragged into the light. This trial isn't just about one man. It's about the dark underbelly of fame, power, and unchecked influence. The question is, will justice survive the spotlight? We're tracking every twist, every whisper, and every bombshell the mainstream won't show you. So, if you're ready to see what the world tries to bury, hit that subscribe button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this with someone who still thinks they know the whole story. Because, trust me, this isn't over. Not even close.